My hair looks good. Are we live? We're live.
Are we live?
I was looking at my hair. I'm like, does my hair look good? Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Thank you for watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. You can also find this on the Twitter and the Instagram. Thank you for watching. Make sure you check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. As always, don't forget to hit that contest button because that's where all the free stuff is at. Right now, take a second to like, to share, tell everyone you know. I'm going to go online right now. I'm going to go to our page and I am going to share it. Are you ready to talk?
I'm ready whenever you are, ma'am.
We have a lot of movies. We were just talking about how in the old days, we maybe had 2 or 3 things to talk about, and lately we have like 7 or 8 movies every show.
But it's funny that we have more to talk about now when there's not a lot of theatrical
Isn't that weird?
things, but it's because we're
at home watching movies.
Well, we're talking about a lot more stuff that's streaming, as well as the Blu-rays and the DVDs and whatnot that we might not have talked about before.
Well, and I think the interesting thing about that, though, too, is there's actually more accessibility for everyone. Whereas people were like, oh, how are y'all going to the movies every weekend? And, you know, and I know that people were probably concerned that we were spending all of our money at the movies, but we did all the movie passes and the movie clubs and everything where you paid the flat fee for 3 movies a week or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But now there's no excuse to not watch movies. They're all available online.
Well, yeah, most of them. There's still a handful that aren't, and we're still trying to go to the theater when we can, if nothing else, to support the theater.
Trying to.
And support the budget of the films, because the people complaining about the movies not getting support, if they release them on demand as well, then you're still supporting the film.
Yeah.
If they only release it, like Monster Hunter that came out this weekend.
Yeah, it's only in the theater.
It only got a theatrical release. So, like, that was one we were going to talk about today. This young lady was sick, so we opted to not go so she could rest. And so we'll talk about it next week.
We are going to go see it.
But we are going to
I'm
see
excited.
The News of the World, which is coming out in Christmas.
Yes.
That's only coming out in the theaters, if I'm not mistaken. But then you have things like Wonder Woman next week that is coming to HBO Max and the theaters.
Yeah.
And it's a genius marketing tool for right now, because so many people, even with the vaccines and with theaters are open, a lot of people don't feel safe.
Yeah,
going.
true.
And this way, people were whining, complaining about movies being delayed, but then didn't want to go to the theater, which made no sense logically. But
they just want them for free on their TV somehow. Because that's the other thing. It's like when Mulan got released, so we have to pay for it.
Well, and I understood half of that argument, because you had to pay for a Disney subscription, and then but they still have to recoup the cost of that movie.
Yeah,
the thing is if you don't want to support the movie at that time, then you could wait until now, which I believe it was last month, that it came on Blu-ray, DVD, and it's on Disney Plus included. Like, we paid for it because we wanted to support the film.
And I really wanted to see it.
Yeah, we wanted to see it, but we really wanted to support the film because the movie industry is hurting, because just like everybody else, because these movies cost money to make.
Yeah.
The fans don't seem to always think about that part. They think, well, I need my Black Widow. I need to see it.
I do need my Black Widow.
Like, you need to do what the fans want. But these studios have to recoup their costs, or you don't get a sequel, or you don't get any more movies, because that budget is millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
You know, and like, the Wonder Woman thing is a brilliant move because it's going into theaters and HBO Max. If you don't feel safe going to the theaters, you can watch it at home, but you got to buy an HBO Max subscription. So it boosts their subscription service, gives money to the movie, gets the fans to get to see the movie, and you can still go to the big screen and see it if you want.
Yeah.
So.
And is it true still right now that movies have to have a theatrical release to be considered for any kind of awards?
No, for at least, from my understanding, this year there was like a special, whatever they gave it, pass, if you will, that I think Netflix and streaming movies and stuff are going to be actually eligible this year only. I don't think
there are some amazing things that have come out.
Yeah. Now, what they did though is a lot of these films still did a limited run on drive-ins or theaters that were open. They would throw it in there.
We need to go to the drive-in.
But they were still
throwing I got excited.
They were still throwing them in some of those theaters so that they would qualify. But then
that makes sense.
The bigger film industry threw a temper tantrum about that last year about it's not right that they can go for a theater for 6 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever, and then they qualify. But like, rules is rules.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, whatever.
But I think if a movie is a good movie, it should be able to be nominated, whether it's streaming or in the theaters. I don't think
agree.
where it plays should have any bearing.
I agree.
If it goes straight to video, if it's that damn good, the studios are mad. I think personally, they don't want that or the filmmakers, because they didn't make that movie, or they had to jump through hoops to get theirs put in theaters. You know, but the whole thing is changing now. Like
everything's changing.
I don't think theaters are going to ever go away.
No, it's going to be different.
I know a lot of people think that this is the end of the theater, and I don't think it is. It's going to take a while for them to recoup. It may be the end of some of the theater chains. I hope not. I hope they find their footing.
I hope some of like your smaller independent ones make it.
Well, there's even talk of AMC not making it because
But that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like the smaller ones that maybe are family owned or run, where they're not having to pay thousands of employees, you know.
Yeah.
Hopefully those will survive. And maybe it'll be like the rebirth of the theater, like back in the day.
Well, at one point there was talk they thought it was going to be the rebirth of the drive-in.
Oh, I'm excited. I want to go to the drive-in.
The drive-in is obviously way safer for that kind of situation.
Yeah.
So
well, and they've changed the
drive-ins
rules
have been thriving
now.
through all this.
Yeah, they've changed the rules where you can bring in, some of them are allowing you to bring in your own food if you don't feel comfortable walking to the concessions or whatever. But I was like, what if they go to old school, like they have car hops? Like you can order on your thingy and they bring popcorn to your car. How cool would that be?
Did they ever do that?
I'm feeling like they did.
I just remember.
If not, then they should.
I remember going.
Because that's my idea. I want to copyright that.
I remember going to the Apollo drive-in, but you still had to walk.
You have to walk to the thing. But how cool would that be if, like, I can order on my app? It's like I'm at stall number 24 in my car.
Yeah.
Bring me my popcorn and my hot dog.
You're just lazy as hell.
No, I'm just trying to work.
You lazy as hell.
Okay, fine, whatever.
All right, let's move on. So we got lots to talk about.
Got lots to talk about.
A big eclectic group of things.
Very strange.
So what would you like to talk? One of them was one we were supposed to talk about last week. We forgot.
Let's talk about that.
And it's an older movie.
And we totally missed it somehow.
Well, what happened was.
What happened?
It came out limited release. Then it did. I think it was on like pay-per-view digital.
And then I was like, I was like, I don't really want to pay for that.
Yeah, at the
that
time,
was me.
But that's also at the time we didn't really have the money
person.
to pay for that. We were being careful.
We had Corona cash flow issues.
We
like
also
many of Americans.
We paid for the stuff we knew we wanted to watch only because we were trying to budget.
I couldn't take a chance on some things.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it dropped on Netflix. So we were like,
okay,
what?
Why not? So
what is this movie, sister?
This movie is Ava, starring Jessica Chastain, your man crush Colin Farrell, and then the guy whose face
John Malkovich is so brilliant. I don't understand your issue with him.
John Malkovich. There you go.
Don't say anything about his face.
And then is this Common?
Yes, Common.
Common. All right. So Ava is, I guess you find out through the trailer, she's an assassin of some sorts, and craziness ensues. And that's basically your story. The interesting thing about her character is the reason I didn't want to pay for it initially is like I didn't know if Jessica Chastain could pull up being an assassin because it's just not what I see her doing. But through that Molly's game was really good.
Even though she's not an assassin in that movie, that's more.
No, but I'm just saying we saw that she could be a little bit ruthless and cutthroat.
See, I liked her in that one. What was the one where she works for the government? It's like that attorney.
Oh,
that was really good.
That was good.
It had like the big twist. That was the one I liked the most of her. She's hit and miss with me. I think she's a great actress.
Yeah, I know. You're not a huge fan.
She's in because she
is it Zero Dark 30 is what you're thinking?
No. Zero Dark 30 is great too. No, this was right before the Molly's game, I think.
Oh, I gotta find it now.
I don't have my glasses on, so I can't.
Oh my gosh. Miss Sloane. That was a good movie. Anyways, she was good in this. I thought
she's
it was
one of those
fun.
actresses that's really good, but she seems to have like this personality vibe that she's just too serious for her own good. And so,
like, I don't think we would be best friends in real life.
And I don't think I could see her in like a lighthearted film.
Correct.
She's only a dramatic actress.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
That's okay.
It is fine. It's fine. It's just one of those people that, like, if she was suddenly to show up in
some romantic comedy,
yeah,
I wouldn't get
it.
Yeah, I wouldn't get that.
Unless it was the kind of movie where it's supposed to be this hard-edged businesswoman who falls in love with somebody and they break her heart. But I might be scared if she smiles. So I don't know. But as an actress, I think she's brilliant.
I thought she was great. I liked this movie too. I wanted to know, what did you think? Did you get enough of your man crush, Colin Farrell?
anytime he's there is enough.
Okay,
but
I'm just making sure.
I actually really liked the movie,
I did
and I liked
too.
his role because
Yeah,
I would have honestly expected him and John Malkovich's character switched because of the way their hierarchy and the way it is. Because Malkovich is kind of the go-between for stuff, but he feels like, or I felt like he would have been the guy that was like the head honcho,
Mm-hmm.
but he's not. And it kind of, I thought that was an interesting dynamic, and I thought the whole movie premise was different than what I thought it was, because I thought it was going to be a bunch of different assassinations and stuff.
Yeah.
And instead, it had a little more typical, they're turning on her kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it had a very big family dynamic that I didn't expect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because who was the other one in there? The lady played the mom.
Gina Davis?
Gina Davis.
Thelma and Louise.
Yeah.
Gina Davis.
There's Gina Davis in it. And it was, so you have the action, espionage, assassin's
but then you
fight
have
thriller.
the whole family
You have a family dynamic and a relationship dynamic.
Okay, by the way, Gina Davis was good.
She was good. She was a biatch.
We don't get enough of her, I don't think, but what we get, it is enough for the story they're telling, but she was
I've never been a big Gina Davis fan.
Really?
I don't dislike her.
I just never really.
But she was good in this.
She was good in this.
I also like her in The Long Kiss Goodnight. Isn't that her?
I guess so.
With her and Samuel L. Jackson.
I'm not a huge Gina Davis person. I don't think I've seen anything Gina Davis.
The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Oh. Yep. Yeah. Look at you.
That's a great action movie. And she plays like an assassin cop spy in that movie.
Okay.
So it's almost like a switch version. But she plays the biatch mother in this, and she's really good.
She's really good. Anyways, this is a really good movie. I guess I feel bad that we didn't see it and that we didn't pay for it. I would have paid for it.
I don't feel bad. We paid for Netflix.
I know. Anyways, it's a really good movie. It's actually very interesting. There's some good twists and turns.
Some good action in it.
There is some good action, and she did really good in this.
Yeah, and there's some good, like actually really well choreographed fight scenes.
Yes.
Colin Farrell gets in he's only in two big action sequences.
Yeah.
But they're both really good. And they're very violent and aggressive. Not like gory violence, but just a lot's happening. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was really surprised on how good it actually was.
It was really good.
Yeah.
So check it out.
It's on Netflix right now.
On Netflix now. Boom.
So do you mean to jump to one of these nonsense that I've seen?
Yeah, tell me about some of your nonsense. I'm feeling kind of hot. Maybe wearing long sleeves wasn't a good idea because I'm congested.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Why don't we talk about
this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's
my
your
next
other
one
dude.
is one I was very excited for. If you've ever watched this show, you'll instantly know why I was excited for this film.
Yes.
Why is it?
Because it's Scott Adkins.
It's Scott Adkins' movie. Who's my martial arts super fan right now. It's a movie called Max Cloud. It also has Tommy Flanagan, and most people would know him from Sons of Anarchy. I believe he's in 13th Warrior. He's this guy right here with the scar on his face.
Yes, love him. He's the guy.
Yes,
love him.
John Hannah, and the premise of the movie is it's like a throwback to like the 80s. Because the idea is
you can tell by the poster.
Yeah, and it's like the old style 8-bit, 6-bit, 13-bit, whatever video games how we used to play. They were all kind of boxes.
The little cartridge.
And so it's this kid playing a video game and finds like an Easter egg loophole and gets sucked into the game.
Oh.
And so they're playing their little avatars. So you're bouncing between the real world and in the video game. So in the video game, if you see it on the TV screen, it looks like Pitfall and that old kind of stuff. But when you're in there, you're actually, so Max Cloud is Scott Adkins. He's not somebody playing him. He's the video game character.
Okay, gotcha.
It's like the hero type thing. But it's funny because it's super campy. He's got a lot of like good fight scenes, but then he'll pause and be like, ha! And it's just really funny.
He has to do his video game
poses and stuff. Like even doing like, doing these things, and it's so funny. He like hams it up. He's great in the role.
That's so fun.
Tommy Flanagan is another character in the game who shows up. He's almost like a cowboy.
Yes.
In this space game that makes no sense, but it's funny. And so then you have two things happening. You have the game and stuff that's going on in the game, and then you have the I believe it's a girl who gets sucked into the game, and so she's playing the other character. But she's sucked in, so her best friend shows up. So now he's playing the game, but he's playing her character. So he's trying to maneuver around, if I remember correctly, and then the dad is there, and it's like, so you have the people in the bedroom are playing the game, trying to solve it to get her out, but they're dealing with the different characters and the villains and all that stuff. So it's like a throwback 80s kind of comedy, martial arts, action, sci-fi. It's a lot of nonsense.
Fun.
It's super silly, but it was a ton of fun.
There you go.
So, and it got Scott Adkins in it that it looked like he was hamming it up and having a blast.
Hey, it's got the guy from 13th Warrior. That's all I need.
And the everybody seemed to be hamming it up and having a blast. Like they die, and then they'd just like fall out of the ceiling and come back up like that. It's kind of like Jumanji, where they have new lives.
Oh, you had new lives.
Yeah, so they had to be careful on how some of that happened. But it's a fun movie. So you should check out MaxCloud.
There you go.
It's in like on demand, limited release now. It will be on. Hold on, I can tell you. I'll just do it up here. It's going to be on Blu-ray and DVD, I believe, in January. Oops. Yep, January 19th. It hits Blu-ray and DVD, and it's on digital right now.
There you go.
So you can check it out.
Check it. Check 1, 2. All right, what are we going to talk about now?
Let's just go down the line over there.
All right, so here we go. Our next movie is The Opening Act.
This is one I didn't think we were going to get to talk about together because I wasn't sure we'd ever have time to watch it. So we actually watched it separately.
We watched it separately on the same day.
Yeah, and when in an unprecedented situation, she watched it first.
Yes, which doesn't ever
And we
happen.
have not discussed this movie at all.
I like this Jimmy Yang guy.
Jimmy O Yang?
Jimmy O Yang. And I only know him because we watched that stand-up of his.
Well, no, he's in Crazy Rich Asians, too.
Oh, okay.
He's the one that has all the money, the super rich guy.
Oh, yes, but I just know him like from the comedy stuff because you made me watch his stand-up because you're like, hey, this guy's funny. I was like, okay.
And he was funny.
He was. And Cedric the Entertainer, obviously, he's on that poster.
And then the movie also has a who's who of comedy.
There's a lot of comedians.
There's people in it that you probably didn't even know were actual comedians.
No, I just thought they were actors.
No, like the police officer that shows up at the end.
Yeah.
That's a comedian.
Where he's like, don't tell people I did this.
Yeah, that's a comedian. He's a stand-up comedian. The guy that's the radio show host, Russell Peters, is a comedian.
Well, I see that at the end.
Yeah, there's like, you have
tons of them.
Yeah, we could go all day and tell you all the different people, but Bill Burr, who's most famously in The Mandalorian now. He's in there. Forgot who was it? Whitney Cummings shows up.
You like Whitney.
So, but
I only knew her from the TV show.
Jimmy O Yang is the main star of the movie. Cedric the Entertainer is kind of the secondary.
Yeah, so it's following Jimmy trying to become a stand-up comedian, and he's not doing too hot at the beginning.
Well, and there's a personal thing. So one of the things most excited that you probably don't even know that I got super excited about this movie is the montage at the beginning.
We need a montage.
So when it starts off the movie, it's not really a spoiler, but it starts off with him growing up.
Him and his dad.
And the reason comedy is so important is because him and his dad watch comedy.
Together.
Do you know who played his dad?
No idea.
That was Simon Rhee.
Oh.
That is Dahan, the iPads guy from Best of the Best.
Oh.
So,
well, why would I know that?
Well,
I mean, you know that.
Which is funny because not only is he an iconic martial artist and actor, but he's predominantly a stunt person. So he's always the guy's fighting. He's in almost the action movie you can see in Hollywood. He's probably fight choreographer or one of the stunt players.
I see.
So this was cool to see him in a non-speaking, non-fighting role.
Yeah, he was just hanging out with his kid.
Yeah, and it's a very well done situation of the kid growing up and then together and how they connect, and there's no dialogue. It's all kind of mimed.
Yeah, you're just seeing
it. But it's such a brilliantly shot, and I was so excited to see him in something like that on camera, doing more, and instead of just his famous line from Best of the Best 2 where he goes, Houston!
All right.
If you anyways. You'll know it's funny if you see it. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, so it just follows this kid. He gets invited to be the MC for this comedy weekend and all the crazy things that happen during this whole weekend. And it's just really one weekend that's really the focus of it mostly. Yeah. And it's crazy ups and downs, and what I imagine would really be someone trying to do stand-up and the craziness that would ensue.
The guy. It's funny is it's pretty grounded and kind of heavy at times of the emotion and the heart, and then you're kind of slapped at these crazy moments.
Yeah.
But then it brings it back, and it was way.
I'm telling you, it's
not heavy
believable.
like crying, but it was way more depth to it than I thought. I thought it was going to be kind of a throwaway, stupid comedy movie.
Yeah. No, it's got a lot of heart to it.
And you're seeing him struggle on how is he supposed to. Not only is he trying to how he becomes a better comedian, but also finding himself.
Yeah.
And who he actually is as a comedian and as a person. And
and I think it's interesting because, the Cedric the Entertainer character is like, just be you, share your life. And so it's interesting because when we see different comedians, there's some that do and some that don't.
Yeah, some of them just tell jokes.
How do you distinguish that, And
I think it comes down to like say you like somebody like Jackie the Joke Man. That's all he does. He literally stands up and tells jokes.
Correct.
Like two guys walk into a bar. Rodney
Rodney
Dangerfield used to do some of that stuff, and then he would go into his spiels. And I think it depends on your delivery.
Maybe so.
And your persona on stage. If you can stand there with a lot of energy, you can tell these jokes and rapid fire them, and it's entertaining to watch. It's fine. But if you can tell a story, I think you connect a little bit better.
Yeah.
If you can interweave your jokes, and then there's some people that when they tell a story, like John Leguizamo.
Yes.
He's a perfect example of a comedian who weaves a story that's not about the jokes, but the jokes are there.
Yeah.
The funniness there. But then you have like Kevin Hart, who tells stories about his family and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a punchline coming.
Yeah.
It's an interesting dynamic.
It's very interesting. So it's interesting because he's trying to figure that out for himself. Like, do I just tell these jokes? Do I not? And then he wants to try to share part of the magic, I guess, of his life with his dad. And then he's getting heckled. And that would be like the most horrible thing. Trying to tell a joke, and you're nervous, and it's your first time, and people are like, "You suck." I'm like, okay.
What I like about it too is that he's the comedian that has the passion and the love, and everything's about being this comedian.
Yeah.
All the other comedians are already there, and they care less.
Yeah.
Like they love their comedian, they love their craft, but they're over it. They're like, do the thing and let's party.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I got to be perfect. No, I got to do this.
Yeah.
I got to do that. Cedric the Entertainer's character is like the celebrity big superstar.
Yeah.
Who's he's not a has-been, but he's on the other side of his career.
Yeah.
Where he's still super famous. He had a sitcom and all this stuff. So everybody knows who he is. He has like this persona, this weird fake wig, and he's got this.
He's just there to do his thing and get his check and go.
Yeah. But he also has that wisdom. He plays like the Yoda.
Yeah.
Of the thing to kind of give him advice when he sees something spark, which there's a moment in the film where he has this real moment. Jimmy Yo Yang has a real moment on stage that kind of what makes sense to talk to him. And I love that it wasn't the typical thing where you get that point and then suddenly he's good for the rest of the movie.
No.
He goes polar opposite. He does really good and then he just gets worse. And then you start finding
I wonder, do you have to get worse before you get better?
Well, I've heard a lot of stories from comedians that talk about how they get in there like they killed the first time they were on stage, and then they sucked for 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then other times they sucked for 15 years, and then they found their groove or they found who they were.
Yeah. It seems like it'd be very difficult. I think I'm super funny, and I would be good at it, but probably not.
She would not. She's not.
I think you have to get into my kind of comedy.
You need earplugs. Wow. I also like the guy, I don't remember his name, but the guy that was the club owner. Kind of weird guy.
Yes, the weird glasses
He's
guy.
the co-creator of the Chappelle Show with Dave Chappelle.
Is he?
Yeah, he gives. If you ever seen,
it's very straight faced,
and that's how he delivers a lot of stuff. I've never seen his comic, but I think he has a stand-up special.
We'll have to watch it then.
But I was watching. I think it was the Dave Chappelle's Kennedy Center Honors, whatever.
Yeah,
and he came out and gave a speech. It is exactly how he is in that movie. Very dry. The funniest thing I've ever heard.
Really?
Because he's taking jabs at Chappelle Show and Half-Baked.
So
and
funny.
Dave Chappelle is pretty good. But The Opening Act is a really good movie. I really enjoy it.
You should watch it. Where can I find this movie?
It is available now on Blu-ray and DVD.
Oh, there you go.
From RLJ Entertainment.
Okay.
Or RLJE Films or something.
Well, thank you so much. That was great. What should we talk about next?
Wherever you want.
You want to tell me about this one? Because this seems really exciting.
All right. So back in... let me pull my review up so I can give you the exact dates here.
Okay. And I'm going to pull it up so I can share a copy of the review to you fine fans. You deserve it.
All right. So our next one we're going to talk about is the third film in a series. That
would be a trilogy.
2010, a movie came out of nowhere called Skyline. It hit theaters. It was a big theatrical release. I saw it in theaters. I loved it. Got a lot of hit and miss with people. Some people liked it, some people didn't. It was an alien invasion movie. 90% of the movie took place inside this one apartment. These aliens, they were looking out the window the aliens coming. They were shooting into like these big like tentacle type things and chasing people around, and so then the movie gets up onto the ship.
But it had Frank Grillo, so it doesn't.
No, Frank Grillo was in the second one.
Oh shoot!
So
dang it! Who was the first one?
The first one, I don't even remember who was in the.
Now I gotta go look.
Because
so I'm remembering the second one.
Out of nowhere, a second movie came out called Beyond Skylines just a couple of years ago.
That's the Frank Grillo. Oh my goodness! Do I need to go check it out?
Yeah, just a couple of.
How do I get out of here?
Just walk this way. So. Hopefully the dog can get out. So just a couple of years ago, Beyond Skyline came out. At this time, it expanded. The aliens had taken over. It kind of expanded the universe. We had Frank Grillo, Iko Uwais, and Yayan from the Raid. And it was more like these humans are fighting these uprising and these tribal people, all kinds of stuff. But it was aliens again. But then out of nowhere, a trailer got dropped for the third chapter called Skylines. This time it is more of a direct, like the second film was continuing the element, but it wasn't so much connected to the first film as much. It was kind of a new story set in the same world. Whereas the third one jumps years later, but it directly is connected to the second film. So is there anything or nothing?
There was nothing.
Okay. Sorry. So the third film picks up years later. It's following. It doesn't have Frank Grillo or anybody in it, but the character is his daughter. Sorry for this very unprofessional.
It's holiday time and Amazon package time. So
yeah. So in the second movie, there's a little girl. It's his daughter. In this movie, Skylines, his daughter's grown up.
Okay.
And so now Frank Grillo's character disappeared. Or got sucked into the aliens or whatever. I don't remember exactly in the second.
In the second one.
So she's obsessed with thinking he's still out there somewhere.
Yes.
So the first movie was pretty much straight up sci-fi, alien abduction, invasion, destruction kind of thing. The second movie was more action-oriented, had martial arts because it had Iko Uwais and Yayan from the Raid in it, and of course Frank Grillo. The third one, the entire movie is in like space. It's on one of the other worlds.
Okay.
And it's a direct battle. So like you have one character who is already an alien. I think it was. I don't remember the whole story of the first two.
We have to go watch.
But there's one of the characters gets put inside one of those alien bodies.
Yeah.
And so in this one, he's still there, and I think it's her brother. And so they're there. So you have an alien with the good guys, and once again they expanded the martial arts element. Got Daniel Bernhardt, who most people know him from the Matrix Reloaded and the Matrix Revisited or whatever it is. He played one of the agents in that. He's in John Wick in the first one. He's the guy that he fights in the club. And he's shown up in a ton of stuff. He's in Atomic Blonde. I've known him as a fan. I've been a fan all the way back to Bloodsport 2 and 3.
Yep.
But he jumps in, and thankfully, they gave him some martial arts fighting actions. He tends to get underused a lot of times. He's either like just a stunt performer or a quick in and out tough guy. This time, he was a full on character. He got to fight.
Nice.
A couple of different martial arts fight scenes that made me excited. I really enjoyed this third chapter as well. It's probably my least favorite of the group, not because it's bad, but because it's so much of the sci-fi element, which I would normally love. There's a lot of majority practical effects, but there is some CGI stuff. It just kind of takes you out of the world that I'm used to, I think is what it is. And not in a bad way. It's like the first two movies were on Earth for the most part.
Yeah.
This one's almost completely away from that. So it takes a little bit to get used to. And I got to speak with the director for this, which the interview will go up soon. And it was interesting to hear how they put a lot of it together. The guys that worked on this series, I believe, were special effects guys first.
Cool.
So that's why they were able to do a lot of the CGI effects so well.
Way. Yeah.
So anyway, Skylines has got a lot of action. It's a great sci-fi flick. It's a little cheese at times. But if you like the first two, if you like this kind of stuff, it's a fun movie that sets up a fourth one. I just saw Liam post
nice
because he follows me on Twitter.
Hey.
And he just commented on a post I made.
That's cool.
On this poster, the poster that you have up.
Yeah, that is some nice art.
I commented on
by
that
the way.
poster to him,
Let me make it big for
Because he
everyone.
just shared this.
Because that is nice
I'd
art.
never seen this until earlier today.
Love it.
Shared this and was talking about people, some review of Beyond Skyline that came out. And so I messaged him. I said, I really dig this art. I need this for our theater.
Yeah, we need a cool
and
poster.
He literally, before the show started, had just commented back to me and said that this was done because they own the rights for the art or whatever. This was given to an artist. They let them do whatever they want. They have not printed these yet.
This is
so he
awesome.
said, we got to figure out how. So I'm hoping that maybe I planted a seed to get one. So if you're watching this, I need one of these posters.
That is an awesome poster.
But then they're going to make a fourth one, so maybe I need to wait until the fourth one comes out. But the fourth one promises, if they pull off what they're going to do, the fourth one actually promises something kind of cool that harkens back to one of the other movies.
Oh, okay. I'm ready.
It has kind of a cliffhanger.
Well, now I got to watch it because I do remember the first one. I kind of remember the second.
The second was
watch
the
all
one
of
that
them.
we watched recently, like a couple of years ago or last year.
Let's watch all of them because I'm ready.
So the third one has a cool cliffhanger-ish ending. And apparently somebody made a mention, because I told him while I was talking to him that he needs, because he said he'd really love to work with Scott Adkins or Tony Jaa or these guys for the, and apparently he's got ideas. And I'm like, I said, dude, I'd love to see it. And somebody else mentioned he should work with Scott Adkins. And he posted an art image and with some title, and he goes, I've already written a script.
Nice.
So hopefully that's going to happen.
And you love some Scott Adkins.
I don't know if Scott Adkins knows about this, but I'm hoping he does.
There you go.
So we'll see. But Skylines, it's in theaters, limited release, and I think online now.
Okay. Now what? Should I just go next?
Yeah, let's do that one.
And then we'll do that.
Yeah, because we'll save that one for the last.
All right. Here we go. Next movie, you guys.
This one surprised me.
This one was surprising. And then I saw the trailer, then I completely forgot what it was. Then you're like, hey, we're going to watch this movie, Greenland. I'm like, great. I had no idea what we were watching.
Even though I told her who was in it.
This happens all the time. You will tell me 5 times what movie it is and who is it, and I have no idea. There have been times where we go to the theater and I'm sitting down and I'm like, I have no idea what movie we're watching.
There was one time we went to watch a movie. I was so excited for it. And then while we're sitting there, she realized what the movie was and that she didn't want to see it. So we actually had to get up and leave. I was very upset.
I'm that person.
And then,
well, and here's the other thing. Like, you just booked 2 tickets for us for this week. Mm-hmm. I don't even remember what we're seeing. Like, we're seeing something Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I have no idea. I guess I better check it out. It's on my phone, but I'm going to show up and have no idea what movies we're watching. And I know this week is...
We're going to watch News of the World.
I don't know what that is. Don't tell me.
And we're going to watch Monster Hunter.
I'm assuming that's about hunting monsters. And at some point, I know Wonder Woman also comes out this week.
Wonder Woman, we're
going to see this week
Tuesday.
with everyone else.
No, we're not.
We're going to see it with everyone else.
We're going to see it early. I want to rub it in.
We're going to see it with everyone else. But the movie Greenland. Or Greenland.
Greenland. First of all, this movie is another casualty of the COVID.
Man.
It was supposed to be a theatrical release.
I think it would have been awesome in Dolby, by the way.
It's definitely one that should have gotten to see in Dolby or something.
Is it in theaters at all?
No. They actually...
Too bad.
They've completely released it straight to pay-per-view kind of thing to get it out there. But apparently it's been doing really well.
Good.
I don't know financially, but it's getting pretty good reviews. This is one of Gerard Butler's best reviewed movies so far.
Good, because he doesn't always get great things.
No, his movies are very hit and miss on the the last one I think that really got a really great review was outside of the very first Has Fallen.
Oh.
Was
London.
Machine Gun Preacher got a really great review, which is such a great movie.
Good for him.
Have you seen that one? Where he's like the ex-biker or convict and he goes to Uganda, and it's based on a true story.
Oh my gosh.
And he's going and helping the African kids or whatever, but he's also having to fight against the guerrillas, but the little terrorist. It's a true story. It's a great movie if you've never seen it.
Wow.
Anyway, sorry.
Anyways.
So Greenland, tell us a little bit about it.
So Greenland is your typical end of the world sci-fi
or is it typical?
Thriller. Well,
it is not typical.
It stars Gerard Butler, as you can see from the poster. And
with his real-life accent.
Yes. And Marina Baccarin. I want to say it right. And this little boy who, I'm hit and miss with child actors personally. But he was okay. Roger Dale Floyd. And here's the thing that's very interesting to me, and I think this would actually happen in real life, and I think what it plays out in the movie would actually really happen. So if y'all remember, this happened when Trump came into presidency, where they sent out the emergency alert, like, hey, you've now been added to the national emergency alert thing, which, okay, fine. In this instance, the emergency actually goes off on Gerard Butler's phone.
Yeah, and on their home television.
But
like a private message to the individual.
Only him.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is an emergency alert message for John Garrity.
I think it had his wife's name too.
And Allison Garrity.
Yeah.
And Nathan Garrity.
Yeah.
Please proceed, or please pay attention for the next message. Do not let anyone else know. And that's where it gets cray-cray. Because their friends are over for a cookout. The message comes up on the TV, and all their friends are like, well, how come I didn't get the message? Why didn't I get the message? And the message literally says, you will receive a location notification. Do not tell anyone. Come alone. Bring your ID.
Yeah, you can't bring anybody with you.
And I'm like, what?
So, of course, what happens?
People
Everybody in the
crazy.
neighborhood are trying to get in the car. They're trying to take our kids.
Take my kid with you. Call us when you get there. Why would you leave without us? And I'm just like, drive, man.
Well, and I like
drive.
One of the things I like.
That was
like 14 times in a row just now.
Oh my God, like that is awesome.
What I enjoyed. And that element is that a lot of times the Hollywood aspect of that would say, okay, some character will convince them to take some kid or a person, and then later on that becomes a big catalyst for other problems.
Yeah.
I like that they have a dynamic of them butting heads, but they still said, no, we can't. We have to do things. Yeah. And because it gives more emotion knowing these people are getting left.
It's rough. But here's the thing. So then you and I talked, and I'm like, dude, if we get an alert notification, we're not taking anybody. Yeah. I'm like, you just drive, and you drive over people if you have to.
Yeah.
Which is sad, but I will drive over you.
Here's what's interesting about this
film. Because that is one of my favorite things.
While it is a disaster film,
the
disaster element is secondary.
Yeah, it's about the family.
And it's a pretty heavy movie.
It is heavy because you kind of find out through the thing they're having family problems anyway. They're having issues.
Yeah, the movie starts and you know there's issues with the marriage.
There's issues. And the little boy has issues, and they each have issues. I mean, everybody's got problems they're dealing with.
But this is the kind of movie you normally would expect it to be like just as popcorn, fun to stretch, like San Andreas or those movies.
It's heavy.
That they spend most of the movie watching buildings topple and stuff. And this isn't like, this is about asteroids coming to Earth. And there are some big destruction and there's some moments, but it's really about the human element of survival and road trip and family dynamic and the struggles. And there's a lot of things of like people having to say goodbye, that some of it's horrific for one person. The other side is like, I'm not leaving my house. This is where I was at. This is where your mother was. This is blah, blah, blah. And they're staying behind. And, you know, and there's, even with the ending, without spoiling it, there's no resolution. And I like that because that felt more like
what would really happen.
Because in most of these disaster movies, they find a way to solve it or defend themselves or something. This is just like, here's what happens.
Here you go.
That's it. But it sets a tone of what the future could bring.
And for me, really, the disaster of the movie are the people.
Yes, they always are.
And I think we've seen that throughout this pandemic.
Every zombie thing. And
any kind of unrest, it's the people. And I don't remember what movie it was, but we knew this. The most dangerous thing on Earth are the humans. And it plays out through this movie. I mean, immediately there's looting, there's kidnapping, there's rape.
Well, like you were
saying,
in the
drug wars, there's gun battles.
Before
and
this
it's just
year,
the people.
We knew there was evil in the world. We knew there was craziness. We knew there was racism. But it still seemed really relegated to the movie stories more than anything.
Yeah,
you know,
but now,
like, because the majority of people weren't seeing it. So it's like you see it in a movie and we'd all talk about, oh, the humans are always the problem. But it's scary because through this pandemic, these movie things have come up to life, not just in pandemic, but in these protests and the violence and the craziness and our leaders acting crazy and people not, you know, people that support either side. I'm not picking a side. I'm just saying everybody is crazy about something. And if you're the one in the middle trying to be the nice one, then everyone turns on you on both sides.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And that absolutely plays out in this film.
And it's not a political movie in any way.
No, there's no politics in it at all.
But yeah, it showcases.
It's just the humans.
Like there's one little story, which was probably my only problem with the film, but it wasn't one that it wasn't a problem because it wasn't done well. I thought it was just the way it was, the resolution was a little convenient.
Yeah.
but because I think it would have gone a way different way and way harder to track stuff down. But there's a whole element of other people trying to do what they thought was right, but they're also thinking of themselves.
Yeah.
You know what scene I'm talking about, right?
But
and so but it's doing weird. What they think is right while being selfish is still affecting somebody else, and it's destroying somebody else's life. And it's kind of a crazy scenario, and it makes you think like, I know you were talking about, it's like, what are they doing? Why are they doing this? And then you realize there's not anything you probably could have done.
Yeah, I mean, you could have tried to run.
But even though, what really were you going to do?
I mean, and that's the other thing. I mean, everyone is like so crazed to try and get out of the cities and get to the airports that at some point,
the camera just moved.
Vader, honey.
Did the dog just do that?
Yeah, Vader. Come over here, baby. That, people are just trying to.
Where am I going?
That away. Well, which is the opposite of, no, go the other way. Sorry. It's opposite. People are just trying to get to the airport and trying to get to safety. Well, that's what everyone's trying to do. So all the roads are backed up, and then, there's car accidents and people stranded on the road. And do I get in the car with this person? Do I not? Are you really helping me? Are you not? And that's the thing is, like, in these situations, you can't trust anyone, I feel like, which is the sad thing. And then when you do, it's like, oh, thanks.
And it's interesting. It's really interesting in going by the public of the things that make people come together.
Yeah.
Because like when 9/11 happened, the world came together.
Yeah.
There was no enemies other than the people that did it.
Well.
And the rest of the world were like.
Still kind of sketchy about that.
No, I know, but I'm saying as a general, everybody was supportive. Everybody in the U.S. were like, I'm here for you. And we're all one. We're showing people were used to share all those photos of people covered in the ash.
Yeah.
And there was no race anymore. It was just the people in this thing. And then you would think something like a pandemic would be another thing that people came to the world. Let's protect each other everywhere except for here.
Yeah.
That seemed to be the case.
Like, you can't make me wear a mask.
Yeah. So it's scary even more so now seeing, because a pandemic is not something that anybody in our generation was ever thinking about.
No.
And whether you believe it's real or not, it's happened.
And now they're 2 or 3 generations. Watch out. It'll happen again.
Even if you don't think the level of danger or anything else was real.
Yeah, it's fine.
The shutdown, the hoarding, the looting and stuff is just a glimmer of what would happen should the zombie apocalypse or anything else like that actually happen. Things would go to the crapper because you have more people turning on each other than helping each other.
Well, I think the zombies are coming. We got to have
Florida already.
Yeah, I know, with their bath salts.
But if people took that same energy to just help each other, you wouldn't run out of supplies. You wouldn't have issues. It's
like the freaking toilet paper.
Well, remember the same thing happened when people said the gas issue. And then everybody ran out. If everybody wasn't out filling up gas cans, filling up things, we wouldn't have run out of gas.
Yeah, which that was dumb. That was like not necessary.
No, that's what happens almost every single time. Is when you think there's a shortage, people panic and they don't think about anybody but themselves. And then to be in the middle of the store fighting over a roll of toilet paper when you could easily go in your shower and just wash your butt off. Like, it's not even a necessity thing.
It's not.
It's a luxury item.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say. Toilet paper is a luxury item because you can use a rag, wash it, and wash it again.
Just like nobody wants to do it, but that's what you can do. No, but
just like there's all these people that use the reusable diapers. It's the same exact thing. Now, running out of food is a different discussion.
That's whole different.
But you could also grow your own food.
Yeah, we can. I'm ready to start growing my own food.
You can not eat as much sometimes.
I do not want to go to the grocery store with these crazy people.
When we've had money issues, we know how to go to the dollar store and buy enough crap at the dollar store on cheap to make meals for a week.
Yep.
Because use your brain.
Anyways, Greenland, it's a disaster of all kinds. It's really about the disaster of mankind.
It's really good.
Disaster.
I think Butler was really good at it.
It is a really good movie.
Somebody even asked him in the movie, where are you from? And I like that they never really discuss it. It's not important.
Well, and that's when you see people start turning on you.
Yeah, because you're not from here. Why are you?
That's the racist thing. So I like that.
But it's two white people.
Yes.
It's two white people arguing. One white guy is talking to him because he has a different accent. Immediately,
so I'm happy that they dealt with the racism issue, but not the typical
black,
black
white,
or
whatever,
brown
yeah.
person.
It was
white.
it was country racism.
Yes.
Like
it's like, why are you
geographical
here?
racism.
Why are you trying to get safe to the border? You don't belong
And what's
here.
funny about that is
Sorry,
somebody,
that was my guy.
somebody else that I know, because we got to watch this on a pretty cool little thing I had never done before. It was we've talked about how we do press screenings back when life was normal. And we'd go to the theater. We'd have a press section. But then in that case, a lot of other people could come to those screenings too sometimes. This case was an online press screening where you didn't get to see the setup. So I don't even think I told you.
No.
So
this
wasn't just they sent me a link to watch the movie. This was you had to log in at a certain time, I think it was an hour or 45 minutes to try to secure your seat, and then it had a clock timing that this screening will start at such and such time.
Cool.
And when it starts, you have to hit the movie start screening, and if you wait too long, you lose your seat. So it's like going to the theater late. Yeah. So if you try to come in the movie late, so we almost didn't get to watch it because the screening started while I was at class.
Yeah.
So me being the creative guy, she was at church, and so I was like, okay, what I'm going to do is it started at 7. My class was over at 7:15. So I'm at class. I put one of the instructor assistants in charge. I ran over there, hit my thing, and waited. And what I was going to do is I was going to hit it, and I was going to try pausing it, and then see if it let me pause it until I got home, and then cast it up onto the TV. If not, I was going to try to watch it and drive until I got home.
Safety.
But it wouldn't load. It wouldn't load on my phone when I hit the screen. I'm like, dang it. So I emailed the press people and just told them, I'm sorry. It wouldn't load for me for some reason. So we're going to apply the pay-per-view this weekend. I'll just send you the link there. And they came back, hey, check with the support. They might be able to help you.
IT support.
And so I did. I just emailed them. I said, hey, I know it's too late. If for some reason it didn't load, but they told me to email you. That's all I said. And the guy, such a nice guy, came back to me and goes, well, hey, we have another one in California. So it was 2 hours behind us.
That's perfect.
We're
still awake.
Yeah. So it started. I was able to get it started. I was already at home. I was making dinner. I was able to pause it, but I clearly had a limited amount of time you could pause it. To keep up with the time frame as allotted of the screening.
Yeah.
So I was able to pause it just long enough for her to get home.
I made it.
She was 5 minutes into the movie.
That's okay.
By the time she got home, and we're able to watch it.
Anyways,
so first of all, big ups to the people that put on the
Thank
Greenland
you.
screening. You made it to where we could watch it. It was awesome.
And it was a really good movie, so I hope everyone sees it. When does it actually come out?
It's already out. It came out.
It's on
Friday.
the line.
Yeah, it came out Friday.
Good.
Or whatever.
Everybody check it out. It's so good.
Yeah, Greenland. You can watch it on digital, on demand, whatever. Right now, you don't have to leave your home.
Check 1, 2. It's really good. All right, tell me about this movie.
Oh, okay. This one I'll make it quick. This one I know she's throwing up an image for it on the screen. I'm going to show you the Blu-ray cover.
Oh, it's on the Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's a movie called The Wolf of Snow Hollow. It does feature one of Robert Forster's final performances. This guy.
That guy. I know who that is.
It's written and directed and starring Jim Cummings.
Oh, wow.
It is a werewolf movie, or is it?
Oh.
It does feature man in suit kind of stuff.
Love that.
It's a smaller film, but it is a comedy horror film. So it's not slapstick comedy.
Okay.
You wouldn't know it from the cover that it's a comedy.
Yeah, no, it looks very bloody.
I really enjoyed this movie. This movie is really good.
I know you love you some werewolves.
I love all things werewolves. I knew nothing about this movie other than it was getting a big buzz. It's obviously certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. So that means it's got a good rating on them. I've always loved Robert Forster, so I was excited to see him in it. So basically the premise is there's people being murdered, dismembered in this small town.
Okay.
And Jim Cummings plays the sheriff of this small town, and so they're trying to investigate it. So people are starting to claim there's a werewolf killing people. And he's like, there's no werewolf. And he's dealing with his own problems, and he's yelling at people constantly, and people questioning him. And that's where the funny side comes out, because he's like, stop mentioning the werewolf. It's just that he's got a drinking problem. He used to have a drinking problem. He's dealing with his ex-wife, so there's a lot of fights with her on the phone that are funny. His daughter, who's kind of grumpy, and she wants to have a relationship with her dad, but he's so busy trying to solve this case. It's a lot of those elements. You do have the man in suit werewolf situation, but there's a very interesting, different twist to this movie that I did not see coming. That made it. It's one that some people, and I really thought that I would have expected once I saw it that it would have pissed me off, but I thought it was kind of clever.
Okay.
So if you're not going to watch it after this over, I'll tell you the
You
twist.
tell me about it. Oh, I like werewolves. I'll watch it.
But I'll watch it again if you don't watch it.
We like werewolves
It's
around
got
here.
some gore in it. It's nothing super gory. It's not scary at all. The man in suit stuff, I like that you get to see the full wolf, but it's a lot of like quick shots, so it keeps it kind of mysterious. It's never like the front face of the wolf going, you see it ramming into cars and slashing things, and you see a full body like silhouettes and stuff. It's really cool. There's also a cool bonus feature of showing them make the wolf costume.
Oh, cool.
And the actor that plays the werewolf, and
That's
showing
nice.
him put on the muscle suit and showing him walk around on the ground and how they do
That's
it.
cool.
What it can
Very
do, whatever.
cool.
So anyway, it's getting a lot of buzz. It's a great little movie, but it's available now on Blu-ray and DVD, so you should check it out. The Wolf of Snow Hollow.
Love it. We love werewolves around here.
Yes, all things.
All right, we're to the last movie.
My
Woo,
God,
woo.
this last movie was not what we thought we were walking into.
Man, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Yeah, so before we watch this, we had two last films we were going to choose from. One of them we'll try to talk about next week if we watch it tonight. There's a movie called Infidel with Jim Caviezel that came out on Blu-ray and stuff.
I really want to see it.
We're going to watch it. Then we were like, I don't know if we feel like, because it's dealing with terrorism and kidnapping, and we were like, that seems kind of heavy.
Yeah.
So we are like, let's go to Netflix and watch this movie.
Yeah,
I thought
it's like, hey, singing and dancing.
I thought it was going to be about the blues
Yeah.
and stuff. And it is.
It is.
But tell us about
whoa, this movie's kind of heavy, you guys. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is a film based on the play of the same name.
Arthur Wilson?
Yes, I believe
Is that right?
so. Wilson's
August
play.
Wilson. Which is the same guy that wrote the play Fences.
Yes.
That Denzel Washington was in.
And Denzel is on a mission to bring all his plays to the screen,
Yeah, so
which I like.
Denzel directed Fences, I believe.
Correct, and he produced
starred in it.
this.
And then he produced this one. So,
Man,
and who stars in this?
this is, which you're not going to believe it. This is, hold on, I lost it.
That's right up there.
Viola Davis, which you're going to be like, that's not Viola Davis, that's Viola Davis. And we have Chadwick Boseman in his final film.
This is his final on-screen role.
You guys, this movie is crazy. It's deep. It's heavy. It deals with some major issues, but then we have music as well.
We do, and it's interesting because we were watching. So when we went into this movie, neither one of us had paid much attention that it was an August Wilson film.
Nah,
We just knew it was Viola Davis and Chadwick Boseman. I knew about the movie
I'm
because
like, hey, they're singing and dancing.
when he passed away,
Yeah.
they mentioned that he had this Netflix movie that was finished and didn't know when they were going to release it. Because, then you get that, are we ready to put that out there yet?
Yes.
And so I just wanted to watch it because I like Viola Davis, but obviously I like Chadwick Boseman. I wanted to see it.
Yep.
So while we're watching it, you're the one that mentioned, man, this would be a great play.
And I'm like, is this a play? Because this would be a great play because the dialogue is like boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, man.
Yeah, so I had to
is so
research. I'm like,
good.
well, let's look. So I read something and found that it was Denzel Washington producing our.
I'm like,
oh. Makes so much more sense now.
I'm like, okay, I get it now.
Because the opening sequence is just the band, not the opening, but when they kind of get together.
The band is practicing.
They're in this one room of this. The whole thing takes place in two places. At a recording studio in the downstairs green room, if you will, that the band has to stay in. And then upstairs in the actual recording area. Studio, yeah. There's a little stuff that sets up and some flashback
some
stuff.
ins and outs, but it's okay.
Those are the two main sets of the whole thing. So it is very much laid out like a play. And when you have those, the first major dialogue exchanges between the band members, and it's ricocheting back and forth. It's quick. And talk about this is literally a, how do you say?
Just say.
This is like a course in acting. This movie.
Yes.
On
gosh.
How to act and deliver in perfection.
And for you'll get this in martial arts. If you're doing something with a partner, you have to have a good partner that you can rely on and trust. when you're acting and you're in a scene like this where it's like 4 people carrying the majority of the dialogue throughout the whole thing, you got to trust that other person that they're going to come up and pick. And that is what this is.
Yeah.
And that's why I told you immediately, I'm like, man, is this a play? This should be a play. Because like this one guy says like, no, you don't know. He's like, oh, but you don't know this. And the way that it flows, it's so amazing. And this is, like you said, it's amazing. Everyone is amazing in this movie. And really a lot of it is Chadwick Boseman's character.
Yeah.
Because he's the one that's like, he's crazed a little bit throughout the thing. Like everyone, their parts, and he's funny, coming in.
Because I kind of mentioned it when I wrote my review about his character. Him and Viola Davis's character. Now, Ma Rainey is, if you don't know, is a real person. She was considered the mother of the blues, but she was never the one that was as famous as the one that got credit because she didn't have the look. Yeah,
she wasn't as pretty.
She wasn't pretty. She was very butch. She was. I don't know if she was actually lesbian. When I read about it, it said that she had dabbled in things that made people kind of seem her sexuality was maybe. Yeah. In this movie, it's played
in this movie she has a girl.
Yeah,
it's her girl.
Played up that clearly there's a relationship, but she's not anything but who she is. But she's crass. She's a bitch. She's rigid. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to a friend of mine who messaged me this morning who said he didn't like this movie. Yeah. But but he didn't like it because he felt it didn't go anywhere. He didn't really like the characters. He hated that she was so mean. And I mentioned to him my thought process. And he's somebody who's a big time reviewer. I'm not going to mention his name. But I respect his opinion because he really thinks deep on these things. And he is right when he says this movie doesn't really go anywhere because it doesn't. It's not supposed to. In my opinion,
I have a theory on that.
It's just going in this one situation, but these two people's arcs of what they've already been going through, mm-hmm. and it's coming full circle here. Mm-hmm. We missed everything before this, but we're told about it in this story. Yeah. If that makes sense. Yeah. But her character, I told him, I said, my opinion of her is the reason she's like that is she knows who she is. It's a time period where she's not only a woman, but she's a black woman. She's got this music that people want to hear, and she knows how valuable and important it is and what she's worth. Mm-hmm. And she's not going to let anybody take advantage of her. And so I think it has created this shut off, cold human mm-hmm. being. Because she's even a little mean to the band members sometimes because she knows what she wants. They're her employees. Correct. They're not her friends. No. Like, I am paying you to do a job. We're going to do it. And that's a lot of what the butting heads in the movie is about. Mm-hmm. Chadwick Boseman characters, on the other hand, is the same exact personality. He's pompous, he's arrogant, but he doesn't have the clout to back that up like she has. Yeah. But he has some underlying emotional things that unfold during this movie that takes him in a whole different direction than it takes her. Correct. But both of them end up in a very sad state where you would think that she would be because she's the famous thing. She's in just as sad of a situation he is in a completely different way. Yeah. No, and I agree with you on her character. She is mean and she's crass, but she doesn't care. And I think it's like you said, it's because there's one short monologue throughout the thing where she says flat out, they don't care about me. They just want to record my voice and make money on me. Yeah. So she's like, so I'm going to get paid now. She's like, I don't care if that hurt their feelings. I don't care if they like me because I know they don't like me. They just want my voice. And it's interesting because if you think about it in modern times, think about Aretha Franklin. Aretha Franklin went on stage with her purse. Why? Because she made sure they paid her cash and she had it in her purse on that stage, and she was not going to leave without her cash. Yeah. So you think that's crazy, but and it's funny you talk about that. Are you crying?
No. Oh, okay. I'm just congested.
Okay, thank you. You never know with her.
I know.
But
I might
talk about the money. There's a great scene in the movie about that too, where her nephew has a part in the thing, and she's trying to help him out, be in the song, and that's a whole nother element of the story. That's a whole other interesting story. About wanting him paid. And so when the guy tries to stiff her, he's like, look, you're going to have to pay him out of your money. She's like, no. If I wanted to pay him out of my money, I would have paid him. I'm going to do this, and you're going to pay this, and you're going to do this, or you're not doing nothing. Yeah. And it shows that power of her, of not only standing her ground for what she wanted, but still saying, look, he worked. He deserves his money. Mm-hmm. I shouldn't have to pay him because, I'm black or I'm a woman or whatever the situation of this white man is saying. And it's interesting that even though race was very heavy in the film, there was never an outlining layer of racism played up in the room. You know,
no, we just
'Cause the
hear
only two-
about it from their stories of
and
their lives.
there's only 2 white people in the movie as prominent roles,
right.
and it's the manager and the sound
Recording,
engineer.
Yeah, recording.
And neither one of them are racist people per se.
Mm-mm.
The manager's clearly not because he works with her.
Right.
The sound engineer just doesn't like her
Correct.
because she's a bitch.
Well,
But he's also shady.
correct.
And so you're seeing it's an interesting
It's
side
an interesting dynamic that they've created that in the other person.
Well, and it's also interesting about that it's still a racism thing because without dropping racial slurs or treating her like she's less than because she's black, he's treating her that way in a different way. He's still trying to take advantage of her.
Yeah.
Because she's a woman, because she's a black woman, and because she's not pretty enough.
Correct.
He's trying to, and what's funny is he's doing it to someone else in the movie as well, which plays into a whole different story.
Yeah, it's a whole other thing. And the other thing, though, too, that's interesting about the race thing is each one of them is affected by it. I think even the 2 white guys are affected by it because in their minds, they're like, are they actually going to show up?
Yeah.
Are they actually going to play? Is she going to be here? Are they going to work hard? Are they just going to waste our time? Because even in that time, studios cost money.
Yeah.
So, they're worried, like, are they actually going to do it? Or is it going to be a problem? And, the rest of the band and her are like, are they going to treat us right? Are they going to rush us? Are they going to let us do our songs? Are they going to tell us what to do? Because even at the very beginning of the thing, he's like, just sing this list of songs. Just these 4 songs. Don't do anything else.
Come in before she gets there.
Before she gets there. Here's the list.
Here's the list of songs they want. And they're like, well, his mom says, I'll work that out.
And he's like, okay.
And I love that, too, because when she gets there, she goes, you're not telling me what to sing. And there's one song, there's a different variation, which involves Chadwick Boseman and why him butt heads. And that causes him to butt heads with the band members and the studio guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought there's this horrible, horrible story that he tells in the film. That's this monologue that, my God, is not only is it horrible to listen to, brilliantly executed.
Mary. I'm over here like,
everything. Chadwick Boseman has done nothing, to my knowledge, other than give great performances.
Yeah.
And you could
This
probably,
is amazing.
It's hard to try to convince a lot of people. Because when somebody passes away, then usually their films start getting even more acclaim. Whether he died or had lived, this is to me is probably Chadwick Boseman's best performance he's ever given.
So good.
And and he was awesome as Thurgood Marshall and Jackie Robertson and all these different movies. Black Panther, he's awesome. This movie is acting. This movie is everything Chadwick Boseman was as an actor. I even think as a person.
Yeah.
Because you feel his pain as an actor, as a character, as this story, but because of what happened to him in real life, you also feel his pain as a human. Mm-hmm. Because knowing that he was going through what he was going through while shooting that, and to still give that amazing performance speaks volumes. Forget the cancer, forget him passing away. That showed talent that I'm not even sure he knew he fully had, because it is so good. And I don't think there's anybody else. I honestly think him and Viola Davis deserve Oscars for this movie.
It's so amazing.
If you only give one, Chadwick Boseman, hands down, was, I think, the better performance. But they're both amazing in it.
The last thing, though, about the comment that it didn't go anywhere with your friend, here's why I think it, maybe you can perceive it that way, and the reality that it probably doesn't. Remember, well, okay, you have to stay to the end of the film. There's some there's another little behind the scenes.
There's a separate 30-minute behind
thing.
the scenes.
Watch that. There's a really interesting explanation, and you can believe it or not believe it, but it's kind of the truth of, I'm going to say, colored people, brown people, black people, that throughout the history of our time in this country, we're given basically the leftovers. The white people or people in power, people with money, take everything they want, and what's left is what everyone else gets. Right. Okay? So she even gave the example like chitlins. hog maws, all this other
making the stew.
meat, lengua, cow brain, cachetes, the cow, all this stuff that nobody else wants. That's what I ate. I mean, that's like the best. I mean, some barbacoa and some lengua.
It's become fancy food.
But we were given the leftover.
Yeah.
And also, if you were a person of color and you came out of slavery, so this time period, they had just come out of slavery, and they were trying to make a better life. You weren't given very much. You were still segregated, and you were said, oh, you're free, but this is all you can have.
Yeah.
So essentially, their lives were going nowhere because this is all they could have. This is as far as they could go. You're free, but you have to stay in this little box. And I think that, to me, if you think about the scenery of them being in that room the whole time, and there's one scene where he's trying to break out through this door, and it leads to an alley, and he's confined. And he thought that was going to make him free, and he's still in a little box. That, to me, is essentially why it goes nowhere.
It's the metaphor.
He was going to go nowhere.
Yeah.
They were going nowhere. Even her, with her fame, and as famous as she was still confined to, this is who you are. You're only a voice on a record. We're not going to put you out on tour.
They even ended,
the
final scene of the movie.
I think it's on purpose.
It doesn't even have Chadwick Boseman or Viola Davis in it. It's a song. It is the biggest slap in the face of the entire movie.
Yes.
It's
I knew that was going to happen. I told you,
but I was like,
oh, don't do that.
It's like the metaphor of the entire film in that history of.
Well, I think the entire history of music.
That's what I'm saying. Is that performance? Is that final performance?
That jelly, the jelly roll song.
Yeah, I'm like, my God.
I told you that was going to happen.
It sucked. it was like. I was like, it made me so mad just because you know how people get screwed over and how they do it, and then what they replace it with you is lesser than.
Yeah.
Even though the people they're treating lesser than are the people they're taking from.
I know, but
yes, but
you can't go out of your box. You got to stay in your box.
Behind the scenes thing that they talk about it's on Netflix as well. It popped up. We didn't know about it. But
I watched it.
It popped up on the screen as something next. Watch it after you watch the film because it does give a lot of the scenery away and stuff.
Yeah.
But it opens your eyes to some things you might not realize as you're watching the film.
Yeah.
But it also talks about that brief history of the what do they call it? Black music. What was the term they used? Remember they were saying there was like that whole genre of black music, but it was how the music was taken from them and this and that. It's very interesting and how it correlates to everything else. So
yeah, no, it's a really good movie. It's way more than you think you're gonna get. There's some amazing performances. It is heavy, and it's a lot. It's very introspective on just where we are now, time period wise, and everything that's happening now.
It's sad that all this time, 100 years later or whatever it is, not 100 years, but whatever it is later, it's the same crap.
I know.
It's still the same crap going on. It's like, it annoyed me to no end, knowing that when that movie was over, I should be watching a movie about a past that I'm not seeing anymore. And be like, man, that sucks back then.
Yeah.
But it's the same crap still.
Yeah. It's in the...
What year did she die?
She died in 1939, so 1930s, 1920s.
Were you okay with the way they did the credits?
Yes.
Because I don't believe this movie is the actual story.
It's not the actual story.
It's based on that event.
Yeah, but we get some of her.
So it shows more of a picture collage.
Yeah.
A picture of her.
So this is 1920. So it makes sense because my grandmother was around during the time of still some segregation. She was born in 1916 and then moved.
1816?
1916.
Your grandma was old.
No, and she moved here. And so I guess desegregation was happening, but still they were treated separately. I mean, it's a whole thing. So anyway. I'm just saying you would think this was a long time ago, but it wasn't. It was during our lifetimes, of my grandmother, my mom.
It's available now on Netflix. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
You got to watch
Chadwick Boseman's final performance, and in my opinion, his best performance he ever gave. And if he is not nominated for an Oscar for that movie, it will be a true crime.
Yeah, that's okay.
Viola Davis deserves to be nominated for an Oscar as well, but I was more fully moved by Boseman's performance, but I think it's because of the arc of his character, not that it's necessarily better than her. So I want people to be like, "You like because you're a man."
Yeah,
but they were both amazing, and this movie will most likely definitely be in my top 10 for the year.
Ooh, I need to work on my top 10 list, you guys.
My top 10. My list is written, so now I got to whizzle it down to the top 10.
Oof, you're doing good.
So check it out. It's on
so
Netflix,
much better than me.
And then after you watch it, be sure to watch the behind-the-scenes little 30-minute documentary that it shows Denzel. It talks to the directors and the actors and all kinds of things. And I was so happy that it had an in memory of Chadwick Boseman at the end.
Oh, that was so nice.
So, but have no fear, you kids of Chadwick Boseman. He does have other performances popping up that are in What If. He did record his stuff as T'Challa on the animated series that's coming to Disney Plus. But this, I believe, to my knowledge, this is his final on-screen performance.
Okay, there you go.
So, moving on.
Your turn
for the giveaways.
Your turn.
All right.
Your turn.
So we got a few giveaways that we'll go through real quick here. Some of them we talked about today. So we have copies of the opening act that we talked about at the beginning of the show.
There you go.
That's the comedy movie with Jimmy O Yang and Cedric the Entertainer. We got copies of that we're giving away.
Okay.
We got copies of The Wolf of Snow Hollow that I just talked about.
That's
so if you want to
cool.
check it out, you get copies of that. We have that available on giveaway. We have a movie we talked about last week, The Smiley Face Killers. We have copies of this to give away. So if you want a copy of this, you want some crazy Crispin Glover, there you go. We have one of the first big movies that came out this year, and the only one really that came out this year, of Tenet.
Tenet was good.
We got some 4K copies of this to give away. I love this movie. I want to revisit it with subtitles so I can hear a little bit better. If you do watch this movie, you should watch it with subtitles on because there's some mumbling. And it's important stuff at the beginning.
Well, there's some stuff in masks, and there's some other things happening in this whole movie.
That stuff at the beginning where they have that conversation is like some of the most important parts of the whole movie.
Yeah, and it was a little difficult.
We got copies of Tenet to give away. And lastly, for now, we have copies of Blade on 4K to give away.
Nice.
But that's not all.
What? What else?
Some of these contests will be ending this week. So we'll be adding a new one in the next day or so for Max Cloud, the new Scott Adkins 80s video game movie we talked about today, or I talked about today. So we have copies of that to give away as well. And a few other things popping up here soon. So make sure you head over our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com
and get your copy. I am hoping that I can get copies of Jiu-Jitsu that just come out, or it came out this week. It's coming out next week.
So I can see. There we go.
It's Nicolas Cage and Tony
Jaa.
We talked about this, or I talked about this. Trying to get copies of this to give away. So if I get that, that'll pop up this week too.
There we go.
Okay. Don't forget Boogers of the Antichrist.
Oh my God.
All right, take it away.
So disturbing. All right, so there are movies coming out this week. Coming out on Tuesday on Video Demand and Digital, there's a movie called No Man's Land, and it has Frank Grillo, so I'm in. Don't know what it's about.
Are you like a Frank Grillo fan?
I do like Frank Grillo. It says George Lopez, so I'm in. Okay, also on Video Demand and Digital, something called Shortcut. These people trapped inside a school bus as a mysterious creature approaches. Wednesday on Netflix, The Midnight Sky. That's the George Clooney movie, so we will be watching that. Coming out on Christmas, guys. Are you all excited? Of course, everyone knows Wonder Woman's coming out. You can watch it on theaters or on HBO. Max. Then News of the World. That is the Tom Hanks movie.
That's one we're seeing on Christmas Day.
Oh, okay. There's something Pinocchio.
Yeah, I believe it's
interesting, an Italian Pinocchio.
Yeah, it's a foreign film. I believe.
That's interesting. Nationwide, Promising Young Woman. No idea what that's about. Connie Britton's in it. Disney Plus, Soul. I'm so excited. It's a little animated movie. I'm excited.
COVID knocked it to Disney Plus instead of theaters.
Okay. Prime Video, One Night in Miami.
I'm interested to see that one. That one is directed by Regina King, and it's a true story about Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X. I think.
This is interesting.
I forgot who the other two people were that came together in one night and doing something.
Sam Cooke.
Well, there was somebody else too. Sam Cooke, Muhammad Ali,
and Jim Brown.
Who?
Football star Jim Brown.
Oh, Jim Brown. Okay, that was the other one.
Okay.
Directed by Regina King.
Also on Prime, Sophie's Love. No idea what this is about. Tessa Thompson's in it, if you care about that. So there you go.
I don't know why that's showing that is. That's already out. They got moved to earlier.
Monster Hunter is out.
Yeah,
you want to watch it?
It got bumped up to this past Friday. So
okay, and then we'll be into January. Can you believe it?
Alrighty.
Whoop.
It's kind of a small week for stuff coming out on Blu-ray and DVD because it is a holiday week, so they don't tend to release a ton of stuff. Akira, one of my favorite animes of all time, and I think easily the best one's ever been made.
Wow.
Is getting released on 4K. The Craft Legacy,
Oh,
the
yeah.
sequel to The Craft, is hitting Blu-ray.
It was good.
The War with Grandpa,
Huh, you like
which
that.
was actually a really fun movie. Robert De Niro and what's his
I
name,
wanna
Eggs
see
Freely
this.
or something like that.
Yeah, that little kid.
Fregley or whatever his name is. But Uma Thurman, Rob Riggle, Christopher Walken. I think Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman's in it.
Oh, cool. I love me
So,
some Dr. Quinn.
Yeah, I think you would enjoy the movie. It's
probably
kind
will.
of a Home Alone-ish thing because him and his grandpa go to war and they're doing pranks on each other.
Okay.
And so at one point he teams up with his old friends and it's going against his young friends. And so there's like a whole bunch of stuff. So it's chaos and fun. It's a silly movie, but it's fun. And that's pretty much the big stuff this week.
Oh, well. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live on Facebook and YouTube. Don't forget to find us on the Twitter and the Instagram. Go search for Hollywood Matrimony. And as always, check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. And don't forget to click the contest button for all the free stuff.
And we will be back for another episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. We still won't have any of our other shows this week, but we have some big stuff planned for next year.
Next year is going to be awesome.
And
what's that? And what?
Oh no! We'll have a couple of live things coming up, or pre-recorded things. Probably won't be able to do live, but we may
We're
pop
going
on
to
and
do
do
what
a
we
live
can.
one.
Yeah, we have some live things.
Because we're going to be going out of town.
I was going to say we won't tell you now.
Well,
but...
I'm not going to say what we're doing.
Okay.
But we're going to be live on location on somewhere after Christmas. So we'll have a regular show this week, and maybe we'll make some announcements.
We'll see what happens.
But maybe not. But be on the lookout for our YouTube page because that'll have some fun videos popping up from our excursion if we're able to still go. And yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for watching.